Welcome back to our podcast at AIX. Today I have two guests here. One of them is Benjamin and the other one is Hank. So very happy to have you here, Benjamin and Hank. Maybe you start with a short introduction, what you are doing, because I know that you are working together. So please tell us a bit about yourselves.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on here. My name is Benjamin Tarzwell. I'm the other half of Priority with Mr. Hank there. Hank is kind of the front man, put on the show, get everyone's attention, and I'm more of the back end kind of guy. I work on the website. I work on like implementations, more the technical side of things, and I'll let Hank take it away.
Yeah, so basically what we focus on currently is training employees how they can, gain the most from AI and use AI in the workplace. So that's where some of our courses come into play. For example, we would do workshops, we do any like one-on-one sessions as well. Basically, we look to empower your workplace with AI.
That's very interesting. What is your experience when you come to companies and you see the status of AI? Do companies already use AI, or do they need guys like you to really help them to get AI started?
It really depends on the average age of the employees, I would have to say, because from my experience, anyone usually around like 30 or like millennials and younger, they have tried it or they are currently using it. But past that point, it's kind of a toss, like a coin toss, if it would be somebody has even opened it. I know me and Hank had a professional development series where about 85% of the people hadn't even made an account. So unexpected, we had to stop and like tell everybody how to make accounts and stuff, and even like show people where to like actually type. So I would really say it depends on the age.
For the most part, I would say that companies have looked into AI to even just a little extent, but they haven't really taken that next step of, okay, do we need to train our employees? Is this something we're actually going to be looking to implement? For example, if they're wanting to have their own like internal chat bot, they're like, all right, well, now we have to find the data for this. Now we have to train, like I said, train our employees. So it comes down to, are they willing to, is it worth it first? And then from there, are they wanting to put that effort in?
So what do you think are the biggest obstacles when it comes to the implementation of AI in companies?
Yeah, I'll go first. So one of the biggest challenges that I see when it comes to implementing AI into the workplace is the disruption of workflow. So with your employees, you want to, when you're implementing something new, especially like AI, you want to minimize the disruption to how they usually do things. You want to, as much as you can, because if I am somebody who's always done it this way, and then you come at me with this totally new way, yes, it might be more beneficial, but it's something I'm not used to. It's something I'm going to have to completely learn how to do. So the easiest thing I can say is, and it's basic, it's start small. If you're looking to, for example, do document creation, you're trying to use AI for document creation in your company, you want to ensure that, okay, right off the bat, we're not just saying, okay, you have to use AI for this. Start small. Say, okay, this week you're going to try to do one document with AI, or you're going to do one a day you're going to try to start using AI for, and build that up slowly so that you're not having them have to switch their entire workflow in a day or in a week or in whatever. Because they're not used to it. It's something new. It's something uncomfortable. Just like learning anything new, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree with Hank. Honestly, from our experience, if you do try to disrupt people for about 2 weeks, maybe they'll try it, but then they'll go right back to what they were doing. So starting small. And I also want to point that there is some pushback from just all of these like media companies giving us like the scary bits of AI, like it's going to do XYZ. It's all like, oh my gosh, this is terrifying. There's been quite a few times that I've heard like just background conversations of people who are only talking about the negatives of AI. It's scary stuff. Like, I can't believe where we're going, but it really is not anything like that. It is so much more a helper than a replacer of any sort. I think people just have to kind of take the Terminator out of it and dumb it down to more of the Wall-E that it is.
Yeah. That I think is a good advice. How is it? I mean, how does your daily work look like? So when you come to companies, and I guess you first identify use cases for AI, but what kind of tools you recommend to them? Do they then use ChatGPT? Do you have a lot of specialized tools you show them and you explain them? How does it look in reality?
Okay, yeah. So it's you identify like a use case, for example, and with a lot of people, with a lot of companies, like I said, they know nothing. They have no starting point. So a major starting point that, for the most part, is what we're going to be touching on first. Is, let's say we're going to start talking about prompting right off the bat. We're going to choose something like a ChatGPT because it's the easiest, it's the most recognizable. Everybody, or for the most part, I should say, everybody that's heard of AI, the first thing that comes to their mind is a ChatGPT. They're like, oh, most people correlate AI with ChatGPT. So with that in mind, when you're approaching somebody about this and they're wanting to learn more about it, they're not going to say the lesser known Claudes, or maybe they have an automation in mind, for example. For the most part, we're like, okay, let's start with something that everybody's going to know and everybody's going to be more comfortable with learning about and learning from.
ChatGPT is a wonderful place to start. I also would like to point out, whenever we are dealing with certain roles, we might choose different tools. Working with marketers, we suggest like Sybil, or like meeting summarizers. Working with creatives, we Canva AI. There's so much depth to that, and it really just gets you kind of familiarized with all sorts of different AI within that platform.
So you already named a few other tools. If you had to say, for example, 5 tools next to ChatGPT, which you are recommending your customers, which you are implementing at your customer site, which 5 tools would that be? And can you always say a few words about this tool, why it is so great?
Yeah. So if it comes to, like, let's say you're like a marketer, for example, and you're having to do like landing pages, there's a couple options like Framer as well. Pretty cool with like a tool like Framer, you can within seconds create an entire landing page. Some other options out there, we have Claude. So Claude is like another version of like a ChatGPT, for example, but it's a lot better at that human sounding copy. So if you're anyone, or if you're a type of person that's maybe doing posting, for example, any sort of content creation, for us, for example, when we're creating our scripts, we use Claude over at ChatGPT because Claude just naturally sounds better than a ChatGPT. And besides that, Ben mentioned the Sybil. Sybil is an insanely powerful tool. It's something that, if we were in a like a Google call right now, this will be recording the entire call, giving us insights about like customer pain points, for example. So very powerful tools. And he mentioned Canva as well. I mean, I use Canva every single day. It's a staple in my way of doing things. Another one for research as well is called Perplexity. So Perplexity is a very similar interface to like a ChatGPT or a Claude. It's actually a little Chrome extension, so it pops up in the corner. And any website that you're on, you can simply click it and say, okay, explain this website, or explain this for me, or I want you to research this for me. It's an extremely powerful tool when it comes to anything to do with research. And that's something that, when I need to, has been a lifesaver.
When you are working in for companies, what are the usual use cases you are doing first? Or let's say, which department you normally start in? Is it more marketing? Is it sales? Is it finance, procurement? Or in which areas you normally start with those companies? And what are the typical use cases you are helping them with?
I mean, it's always the easiest to implement it into a marketing workflow. I mean, using ChatGPT just to come up with, or help come up with emails or summarize things, it has such a high impact without being so crazy for them to really work into it. So I would definitely say sales and marketing is the easiest to implement. And it honestly depends where we start first, because each client approaches with a different idea in mind. And I will suggest certain things. Like we usually always suggest like sales marketing, because it just has the highest impact, highest ROI.
So in our personal experience, sales and marketing has been the go-to. Actually, when we were doing our professional development series, our most recent professional development series, we were focusing on sales, and it was focusing on, okay, how they can be doing their research, how they can be doing any sort of outreach, for example, and anything to do with the sales process and their workflow. We were trying to identify, okay, where can AI make the most impact while causing the least disruption?
How did the two of you come together? How did you decide to start an AI consulting agency? How did this happen?
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty cool story. So we started off, I mean, both of us started off just messing around with the AI tools like back in the day when ChatGPT started getting big. We both were messing with it, like making funny stories. He was actually doing a D&D campaign, which was pretty cool. So we were just messing around with it, just having fun with it. And then I recognized the potential there. I always wanted to be at the forefront of something. I was too early for the internet, and it was a perfect timing for me to be like, all right, we're doing this AI thing. So I approached Ben with the idea, and he jumped right on board because it was just too good of an idea. We're like, this is perfect. We're going to be able to help so many people because at the end of the day, as much as we know so much about AI, we're in a bubble. There's only so many people that really know how to leverage AI and leverage it properly. There's so many more people out there that just have no idea how much value it could be bringing to them.
And your customers, they are mostly in Michigan, or they are all over the country, or all over the world, or where are your customers mostly based?
Predominantly, our professional development has been in Michigan. It's easiest to do it in front of people. Webinars are fun, but I feel like you don't get as good of a connection. As for like other services, such as like an email implementation, like an AI email creator campaign system, we've worked with people in New York. We were just speaking with a couple of people in Florida. It's all mostly in the U.S. I would say 100% of our experience has been within the U.S.
Yeah, I would say that as well. It's kind of funny enough. The people that are the most interested about AI is not the people in the U.S., which has been surprising to me. I get more DMs on LinkedIn from different people in other countries, much, much more than I do about like people
Really?
from the U.S.
Surprised.
Yeah.
What's the first reaction when you are approaching a company and tell them you can help them with AI topics? How do they react? What is their interest? How does the first talks look like?
Yeah, so the first talks, I mean, it's always pretty interesting. So you have the people, if they approach you first, they're interested, they are truly looking for this. When it's the opposite way and we're approaching them saying, look, this is something that you should be looking into, here's how we can help. There's always that bit of disconnect because for the most part, they've heard about it. They're kind of aware of, oh, this could probably benefit us, but it hasn't made its way into, let's say, the top management where they're like, okay, let's do this thing. So it does take a little bit of convincing to get them, truly on board. Some of them, like I said, some people, they'll approach you and they're already on board. Others, it takes a little bit of convincing because they're not totally convinced that AI is a must for their business yet, or even that they should at least have their employees trained. So it takes a little bit of coercion for that.
Can imagine. No? If you see all the different industries the world has, which industries do you think are the most advanced when it comes to AI? Can you say that, or what kind of companies are more advanced when it comes to AI than others?
I would definitely say any of the like larger businesses, like 10,000 employees and up, they have the budget to experiment with these tools. Whereas all of the smaller businesses, they're the ones that are sitting by, waiting a couple of years. Is this something we should do? Are they getting any like good returns on this? Whereas these larger companies, they can be a little bit reckless. They can try out Copilot and then realize we don't want Copilot. Nobody's using this. And then try something else and then try something else without it being such a make or break kind of a situation. So I definitely say very large companies, especially those over in Silicon Valley. I mean, that is the whole essence, right? That's where it's being created. Those companies are the ones that are the most advanced, I would say, or at least have the best culture when it comes to adopting AI.
That's what I would say as well. And from there, and if you were to like niche it down, we said sales and marketing. That's the biggest spot, especially in marketing. I mean, it can help you create entire marketing campaigns. Like I said, back to the other example, Framer, having it generate the entire landing page for you. You make a couple different tweaks. boom, you're good to go. It can create the copy for you. That's the biggest thing, is the copy. If I were approaching somebody and I really didn't know much about them, I could be using AI to scan their website, and from there take that information. But all right, now I know so much more about this individual. So when I'm approaching them, it's an informed approach. It's not me just kind of going, "Hey, I can help you." I actually did. You're able to do the research much better.
There are a lot of people saying that companies who are not implementing AI now or in the next 1-2 years, they will not survive the future. Is this a thought that you are sharing?
I would say that it's not a make or break yet. I think that right now we're in this position where people are going to say those type of things. You have like extremists. You have an extremist saying AI is going to ruin the world, and you have people saying that it's going to change the world forever. I do think that AI will make a bunch of changes, and I think 10 years from now, work is going to look a lot different from what we are doing currently. It's going to be more of AI and humans combined rather than just humans before, or maybe humans and a little bit of AI. It's going to be a true like synthesis of us working together. You're going to have AI doing a lot of the grunt work, and then the humans using that creative thinking and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a bit of worry there, and there's people that are saying, okay, I think my company, or the people thinking that their companies are going to get destroyed by AI. I don't think that's the case, as long as you're ensuring that you're staying up to date to some extent, as in terms of like where the technology is currently. If you think that where the technology is currently, and then maybe 3 years from now is going to totally be upgraded, and you're not going to be able to survive, then you should for sure to be able to stay competitive.
Yeah, I would definitely. I like the point Hank said. I know he was saying it as if it wasn't going to, but I definitely do think AI is going to change the world, kind of forever. At least the course of knowledge work. Definitely going to have an incredible impact on like the healthcare industry, all sorts of just different development type work. It's too good of a technology not to let. I don't want to say frolic, right? It's too good of a technology not to see where it goes. But as for people who are a little bit nervous about adopting, I don't think right now it's a make or break, but do keep an eye on it. Definitely, I mean, keep the eyes to see when you should hop on board. Maybe right now is not the best time for you, but who knows in a year from now with how fast it's moving, one thing's going to get released that completely revolutionizes your workflow. If you're a business doing XYZ, if you're a business doing plastic molding, maybe there's an AI that completely revolutionizes the way that you hire people to do that. Maybe it's a whole different world. Just keep an eye on it.
Definitely. What is your, we talked earlier about tools that you are using for the companies you are working for. How is it in your private life? What are use cases of AI that are really fascinating you and which became, let's say, part of your daily life?
I started using AI to create a D&D campaign. And actually, currently, it's been a couple years since then. I'm using it again for a D&D campaign, but now I'm also using it for I'm using Runway ML to create like little scenes and stuff. I'm using Claude to come up with dialogue. I'm using Canva to come up with little characters, sheets, all sorts of things. And all of it is using little bits of AI here and there. So not so intense as like business use cases, but a lot of fun use cases.
Are you still using Google or you use ChatGPT instead?
Still Googling
Perplexity.
it up, but
I'm going to pick
So what I've been using it for primarily, in my day-to-day, anytime I have like a question pop up into my brain, I am now going to ChatGPT. If it's a more like I need to really research, I'll go onto a Google if I need to like find a website, for example. But if I'm trying to get like an answer to a question, I'm going straight to ChatGPT 9 times out of 10. So that's like for a general use case, that's been one of my more go-tos. I've also started just for fun. I've been making like comic books with AI and things like that. Things are just things to just expand the creativity there, because there's so much creative options as well with these AI tools. Like Ben mentioned, Runway ML, Runway Gen 3 is now out, and you're able to create really cool and realistic looking videos in 30, 45 seconds that was not possible a year ago, or not possible 3 months ago. So it's really interesting, really fun to be able to mess around with these tools on a day-to-day basis outside of work.
Fully agree. So I hope that we will soon see the two of you also on AIX, that you will have a course on AIX. I heard that you are planning to do so. What kind of course would it be?
We're creating just a general, kind of like an all-purpose catch employees up to speed for small to medium business kind of courses. So we have like our introduction section. We really hammer home the point that AI is not here to take like your job. It's only here to enhance you. Just to also kind of break that ice that I mentioned before. We have a section on data ethics. We have prompting, because prompting is going to be the language of the future. And then we have workplace implementations, which means just how you can fit it into your own workflows. And we have a bonus little bit of a course that is going to be about how you can create GPTs and how those offer a really high return on your time in your workplace.
When we've been putting it together, it's actually pretty interesting. Like each section, as we've been going along, we've been getting insights from other individuals. And one of the people that we talked to is the IT director at Mattel, and he had done employee training for thousands of employees. And he said, "Look, if I could go back in time, this would be the course that I'd be giving my employees." So we're really excited about it.
Sounds great. So perfect. Thank you very, very much for your time. I think it was an amazing interview. Thank you for all your insights, and I wish you all the best of luck for your business. I hope to see you soon with a course on AIX, and looking forward to talk to you soon again.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful to meet you, Mark. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. I think this was an amazing interview, and if you like interviews like this, you should subscribe this channel, switch on the notification bell, because more or less every day we are uploading similar videos with experts of AIX. AIX, as you know, is the biggest international channel for training and academy in artificial intelligence. So whatever information you need, you will find on our channel, you will find with our experts. So in those podcasts, you meet the experts. So stay tuned and see you very soon in one of our next videos.